AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Mamta Parakh. Mamta is the Vice President of Data Science at Quartet Health. Mamta, welcome to the show.
Thank you, JP.
Great. So, Mamta, let's start with yourself. Could you give us a brief background of how you got involved in technology? What was the start? Talk us through some of your career journey, taking us up to just before you joined Quartet Health.
Sounds great. So I grew up enjoying math and physics. I, tutored peers and younger students. That took me to studying engineering, and I worked as a software engineer for a few years, right out of engineering. Then I went to graduate school for management science, where I picked up statistics, operations research, and using these as tools for business decision making. After graduate school, I went into a decision sciences consulting firm in the biotech and pharmaceutical space. It's called ZS Associates. We there developed cloud-based technology solutions for distributed teams in pharma and biotech. And these tools we developed were leveraging data and statistics tools for designing drug trials, forecasting drug sales, or segmenting patient populations or segmenting providers, all in support of launching novel drug candidates into the markets. Since then, I've worked at technology startups, and my work and education has spanned. So I've lived and worked in US, Europe, and Asia throughout that time.
Thank you for that, Mamta. I appreciate you giving us some insight into your background and talking us through your journey. So you're now at Quartet Health, Vice President of Data Science. Could you give us some insight as to who Quartet Health are, what you guys do, and more importantly then, what your role as Head of Data Science involves?
Absolutely. Quartet Health is a healthcare technology and services company. We are about 5 years old. And our mission is to improve the lives of people with mental health conditions. We're building a different mental health care system to reach people who need care, connect them to the right type of care, and support them while they're on their care journey. I joined the company in 2015. I'm now part of the leadership team. We've grown the team from 20 people. About 20 people when I joined to now close to 300 people in 2020. I now manage the data science function. The data science team, we're a small, innovation-focused strategic team. We sit within technology and we work collaboratively with our product operations, clinical, and business development teams, as well as our executive team.
Thank you for that. So looking at how you and your team are utilizing AI and data science to solve problems for the business, can you give us some insight into the types of projects that you're working on and the impact that it's having for Quartet?
Yes. So at Quartet, we basically know how difficult it can be for people to find the right mental health care for their needs. Historically, mental health has been separated from the rest of the medical system and treated differently than other forms of healthcare. Now, in COVID times, mental health needs are just skyrocketing, and Quartet is working really hard to ensure that patients who need mental health care can access that care easily and safely. So what we've built is a secure SOC 2 HIPAA compliant technology platform. That platform leverages AI and data science to enhance existing workflows in healthcare and improve the overall patient experience and make it easier for people to get the mental health care that they need. Some examples of how we leverage AI and data science include, we derive information about a patient's needs from unstructured information that is shared with us by their provider. We use natural language processing and statistical learning tools for that. We also leverage machine learning in our workflows to match people to a quality mental health care provider based on their needs, their preferences, as well as their insurance. Anytime that someone needs some extra support on their care journey, we also have a dedicated care navigation team who are there to help. And what we've also done is we've built data science models and dashboards that inform our care navigators' work so that they can effectively support the people that are seeking care. What we've realized is that this level of close integration between our technology and our services really helps us to better connect people with the care that meets their clinical needs, and they're getting the best support and have generally better healthcare outcomes.
That's amazing. And I think it's particularly great to see you focus on mental health because we know it's such a underserved area of healthcare. Taking a look at your role within data, within tech and AI, you've obviously worked for some amazing firms prior to Quartet. Could you give us some insight into what you love most about what you're doing now?
I'm just kind of really amazed by how rapidly AI has moved from academic research or government applications just a few years ago to a ton of commercial applications that we use in our daily lives today. In general, I'm very excited by the improving accessibility of mathematical tools in aiding sort of a wide range of users who need to make important daily decisions, be it educators, be it doctors, nurses, recruiters. And it's also very comforting to see that bright young technologists are bringing their craft to fields like healthcare, like education, and are accelerating the pace of innovation and positive change in these industries.
Absolutely. So I'd want to get your take on how to get the balance of impact and ROI, particularly getting the confidence and buy-in from C-suite level and front office. So it's all about creating value. So how did you go about creating value with data science?
There are multiple kind of things you need to balance. You need to keep your eyes wide open and your lenses outward looking, where you're learning from what's happening across different industries. You want to understand what technologies are being built, what algorithms are being innovated on, and what are the structure of the use cases that other industries are developing and deploying. But then you also need to develop subject matter expertise in your own industry. You need to take the time to connect with your non-technical colleagues and your customers to understand the problems they're trying to solve, and really find a way to work with them to build AI solutions to real problems. And you need to use the terms that these colleagues would understand, these customers would understand. And then you should look to build a diverse team first, and then use the breadth of your knowledge, your team's knowledge, to select solutions that are quick to implement. I think the other other way to create value is to develop and deploy simple, lightweight models with simple features and see if it can positively affect a user's workflow before investing too heavily into a very sophisticated model. Once workflows are established, once you know that a model's output can really affect a user positively and improve their workflows, then you can go ahead and iterate quickly, improve your model, bring more sophistication. But the way to start this kind of data science work is to keep a focus on value to the user, value to the business, and do work iteratively.
Absolutely. I think it's a very important point there. I want to switch gears slightly and get your take on how you've gone about building your team. So as you're now responsible for all data science activities within Quartet, how did you go about building the ideal data science team? What does that look like to you, and how do you effectively manage it?
In my view, the ideal data science team is made up of intellectually humble people who are collaborative, who are entrepreneurial, and ambitious about value creation. They of course have strong fundamentals in statistics and math. They have experience with, or at least a very good understanding of programming concepts. They're open to learning new things and applying new technologies and tools to existing business problems. And also, diversity within the team is very important. For example, in my team, we've got folks who come from physics, computer science, psychology. We also have someone on the team who comes with a clinical background and has been working with clinical data for a while. So that diversity and shared the breadth across the team is very important so that people can learn from each other. In terms of managing and building this kind of team, you need to focus on hiring bright people who thrive with ownership, who and as a manager, you try to foster connections among them. You encourage and enable learning. You sort of facilitate stakeholder connections for them so that they can start working, but you also kind of foster a culture where they can do that independently as well. I think the other piece of it is, making sure that the work we're doing is visible to senior leadership, and we're measuring the impact of our work on a regular basis and showcasing that impact. So any work we take on, we also, like to know what is the metric for success, and how are we going to measure whether we want to scale this work or not scale this work, and make sure that as we're reaching milestones in our work, we're able to communicate that to our to stakeholders across the company.
Yeah, I think it's clear everything that you're speaking to is all about impact to the business, ROI, to ensure that everyone sees the value. And I think that can be easily lost when people delve down the research side of work. So looking back on your journey thus far, it would be good to pick out some things that you've learned along the way, and what advice you can offer to more junior people who are just starting on their journey within data science and machine learning.
So one thing I would say is, learn all tools of the trade. So don't limit yourselves to only statistics or only programming or only sort of machine learning development and deployment. Make sure you are good at data collection, data cleaning, data analysis, statistical modeling, machine learning, programming, app development, and deployment. Aim to become a versatile data scientist. And in order to do so, many resources are freely available, so use them. I think it's really kind of, when I hear someone say, I'm a statistician, but I'm not a programmer, I think my advice to them is, take some time, learn about programming, become a little bit of a better programmer. So that would be one. And then the other piece, is you've seen come through in my earlier responses, is keep your sights on business value that your work is creating. If you're not clear on that, stop. Push to understand how the work will add value, and then do work in a way where do something that can be done or tested with a simple, fast model that, if it can be presented in simpler ways to the stakeholders, do that first. Don't invest in creating an entire machine learning pipeline or a deep learning model until you've established the value that can be created and the scale that is needed for that value. So those would be my two points when it comes to advice for others along the way.
Yeah, and super helpful. Final question for you. As you look ahead to the continuous impact that not just Quartet is having on healthcare, but AI and data science in general, what are you most excited about for the future of this space, and particularly the impact that you're personally having?
I think I'm really motivated by, I've chosen to work in healthcare because I'm really motivated by applying technology in a way that can get people to be their most productive, happy, healthy selves. And you can do that in many different ways. We've chosen to tackle at Quartet, mental health care quality, mental health care access, but all of it is really geared towards technology being an enabler for people to live the lives they want to live.
I think it's a great way to finish this. Thank you so much, Mamta. I appreciate you coming on, talking about your background, some of the amazing things that you're doing at Quartet, and sharing your wisdom for the next generation of aspiring data scientists and data engineers. I'm sure we've all learned a lot. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, John. Very nice to connect with you, and I look forward to more of these things later on.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week, we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.